Hi everyone and welcome to the latest edition of On The Box. Now we're here at the FLE Fishery. It's been a beautiful hot day. A lot of the customers have gone home and we're here with Gareth Boycott, and he's actually going to be showing us how he approaches fishing in the edge. Now this tactic has been doing so well in the matches of recent, and we just couldn't resist coming here and seeing how Gareth does it. Now, when day ticket anglers come to our fishery, we often say, oh, fishing the margins, fishing the edge, and then you see them fishing 2-3 metres out from the margins. When we're talking about fishing in the edge, we're talking about fishing in the edge. And in this edition, hopefully you're going to pick up some tips and tricks on how you can tackle our fishery and others around the coast and catch more fish fishing in the edge. So let's go and see Gareth and see how he's getting on. Okay, so we're here on peg 19 with Gareth. How you doing, buddy? All right?
Not too bad, mate. Yourself?
Yeah, not too bad. It's been a hot day here, but yeah, looking forward to getting some fishing done and doing some filming.
Absolutely.
Now, we're here with you this evening because we're going to be talking about fishing in the edge. And I just did a little intro there. I said that when we talk to day ticket customers and we talk about fishing in the edge, they're fishing sort of 2-3 metres from the bank. But we want your take on fishing in the edge, if that's all right, Gareth, because you've done well in the past on it, haven't you?
Absolutely, yeah. Very good method. Wins a lot of matches, especially in the later stages. You know, the last sort of 2 hours of a match. But when I say in the edge, I mean right in the edge, literally right against the bank. Ideally you want about 2 foot of water. You will catch in shallower water than that, but what you will find is quite often you'll get a few fish and they'll spook. They won't actually settle in that depth. So basically what you want to do is set your rig at around 2 foot deep, plumb around until you find that spot. And I find that sort of the optimum depth. Any deeper than that and you'll foul hook a lot of fish. Any shallower than that and they don't tend to settle, they get a bit spooky. Maybe it's the pole over the head, so I don't know, but 2 foot is the sort of depth you want. If you've got a spare peg, so obviously I have this evening, you know, you want to exploit that. If you've got a bit of room, carp love room, I think they feel safe there, so if you've got that, target it really.
Brilliant. So as far as sort of when and where, we're looking at the latter stages of the match.
Yeah, I see it as, you know, if you're fishing a match, the first sort of, if it's a 6 hour match for instance, the first 4 hours generally at this time of year you want to try and put in as much weight in the net as you can from across. If you went straight down the margins, you probably would catch a few early fish, but they're not going to stay there, and you know they might not come back. If you can leave that swim, leave the fish settle there, let them feel safe for the first 4 hours or so, and then go on. Well, you've already got your far bank fish in the net. You can really, really top your weight up and go from having a good weight to a great weight and a winning weight, really. And we've seen that in the past with the sort of 200-pound weights we've had recently, where people are doing well fishing either the method or long pole to the far side, and it's just those last hour sometimes that people come from nowhere. Because what you'll find is it definitely sorts out the bigger fish. I often find on here in the matches the far bank fish probably average about 2.5 to 3 pound. The margin fish are more sort of 4 pound plus. You get some real big fish, 8, 9, 10 pound fish. You get those in and it's very easy to put 70, 80, 90 pound in the net in the last hour and really boost your weight, sometimes double it.
Okay, well, no, you can't wait to get a rod in, pole in the water. So what we'll do is we'll just have a little look at you plumbing up your swim and see if you can find that magical 2 foot mark, mate. Okay, Gareth, so you're all plumbed up now.
Yep.
Basically, we're just going to talk through about how you actually set up your shop. How do you actually set your swim up to go and approach fishing in the edge?
Again, as you can see, organisation is the key really. If you can have everything in its place, I've got my seat box nice and level so that my legs are at a right angle. That's going to basically not give me any back problems fishing the pole. Not so important down the edge, but if you were fishing long, holding 14.5 metres of pole, absolutely key to have your seat box set up right. I've got my side tray here, I've got my baits, 2 bait tubs, bits and pieces that I need. Got my landing net, easy to hand, keep net attached there. I've got my pole sock, I don't know if you can see that there. That just keeps when I ship back, my pole goes in there. It's not going to blow about or slide into the lake or, you know, basically get broken. Very important on windy days, not so much today, but on windy days, absolutely crucial. Again, and as you can see, all I've done for the purposes of this feature is to set up exclusively to fish the edge. So I've just got one pole roller there. If I was fishing a match and I was only going to target the edge later on, I'd have two pole rollers set up, which it helps you ship out. But for these purposes, I've got everything there that you can see. Rig roost, again, very important, I think. Some people will put it on the floor. It can easily get, you know, get broken, dirty, tangled, that type of thing. Here, my rig's there. It's got its own place, easy to hand. Same as my cupping kit, which you'll notice is exactly the same length as my top kit. Very important point that a lot of people don't maybe not pay enough attention to that. If your cupping kit is 6 inches longer than your actual fishing kit, every time you cup in your bait, when you drop your hook bait on, it's not going to be bang over where you fed your bait. Again, maybe not quite so much important when you're cupping in big pots of ground bait, but in the winter, when you're cupping in very small amounts of bait, that precision is key. So take the time, get your cupping kit exactly the same size as that. Then other bits and pieces really. Disgorger, obviously for unhooking fish with a bit of luck. Another important point, line marker. And I actually use this, plumb my rig, that's the depth of my swim. Mark the top of the float, little bit of white line marker. If I catch a fish and the float moves, or I tangle a rig, or get broken, I can quickly readjust my rig, line it up with that, and I'm fishing again at exactly the same depth. So there you go.
Brilliant, thank you very much. Right, Gareth, so final thing, just before we get you to put in for the first time,
Yep.
Let's just have a little look at what's on your roost, mate.
Okay, as I say, the purpose of this evening is just about margin fishing. One rig for me for that. This is a power kit. Power kit of the pole. My elastic is orange vest. It's a hollow elastic, which I personally think when you're fishing short, very, very important. You're fishing for big fish. You know, some of these fish are well into double figures. What you will find as well is that sometimes you've only got 4 or 5 meters of pole in your hand, if that. There's not much flex in that. You hit a fish, you need to let it run out. Hollow elastic stretches far more than solid elastics. This is quite powerful. Soft enough on the strike, so I'm not going to be bumping fish, but plenty of power in reserve. My main line, 018, very strong. You know, this is a bit of a take no prisoners approach. When the fish are down the edge, they come in there. If they come in the edge, they're feeding. You know, that's the only reason they come in. So quite a bold approach. Plus, you might only have 90 minutes of the match left. Hook fish, you want to hook them and get them in and get another one. You don't want to be playing a fish for 20 minutes because the guy next door who's on proper gear like this will have 3 or 4 fish in the net to your one. Coming down, this for me, ultimate margin float. It's a Scone Zone V6, very, very, very strong. Nice thick tip, as you can see. It's actually got, the line actually runs through the body. Sure we'll get a shot of that shortly. The line runs through the body, very strong spring eye. This goes down then. I've got a 6-inch hook length, again of 018. Now I know that's the same line as the main line, but it just puts a slight weak spot in there. So if I do foul hook, you know, you'll never get broken on this. Any fish, especially in these canals, you know, they go up to sort of 15 pound, you're never going to get broke. It also gives me the option, if the hook blunts or anything like that, I can change it. I've got, as you can see in here, ready-made hook lengths, different sizes, different hooks, different patterns, all ready to go. My shotting pattern, simplicity itself. This is a very bold approach. You're not looking for finicky fish. They're not going to sit there and look at the bait. They come into that edge, see your bait, bang, have it. I've got a bulk of 4 number 10s. That's 1 foot from the hook. 6-inch hook length, roughly 6 inches to that. And as you can see, about another foot, that's my 2-foot optimum depth. What a simple rig. Now, something I do maybe a bit different to a lot of people. When I fish down the edge, I actually hair rig my baits. And I do that, as you can see on the hair, I've got a little quick stop. That matches up with the quick stop needle, and I can fish the 2 baits for me for down the edge, corn and worm. this rig, I can either hair rig a worm, stun it on the surface, perfect. 2 grains of corn, even better. Not many people seem to do it, but if you were fishing a straight lead to the far bank or a method feeder, hair rig every time for baits like corn. I just think it gives you a clear hook point. You miss very, very few bites, and for me it just makes perfect sense. So that's my rig. No nonsense, very durable, strong line, quite a big hook. That's a 14 Guru MWG. You know, quite a strong pattern. Eyed hook, so I can fish a knotless knot, which again for me is very strong, which allows me to have the quick stop on the hair. If I was fishing a more sort of traditional margin approach, whereby if I was just fishing particle baits, corn and hemp or meat, something like that, I would be lifting and dropping the baits a lot more. And for me, that's when the Scone Zone Samurai comes in. That's a 0.2, same as the V6 that I've got. That's got a slightly longer bristle, as you can see, so I can lift and drop the baits more. It allows me to read what's happening. I would also dot that float down more with baits like corn. With the margin rig I've got now, 4 number 10s leaves the entire bristle showing. If those fish are taking in 2 grains of corn or a whole worm, 1 minute the float's there, the next it's gone. Plus, the final point on that, feeding this ground bait, you get a lot of fish in the peg, wafting about, brushing into your line. You want all your float there, so you know, if it's dragging under slowly, leave it. It's a foul hooker, fish brushing your line. If it's there, you blink and it's gone. That's a fish that's taken in your bait, sucked it in, buried the float, lift, fish on. Just a second, very much. There you can see, nice carp. Caught on hair rig sweet corn over that ground bait. Actually took a little longer to get them going for some reason this evening. Put 2 pots of ground bait, small amount of corn in. 5 minutes later, still no sign, so I put in another pot. 5 minutes later, bang, straight on it. And as you can see, a nice common carp, probably about £4. A nice fish, and you can see a fish of that stamp, catching them short down the edge, very easy to build a good weight, potentially a match winning weight.